ꯂꯩꯔꯣꯏꯕ ꯃꯔꯝꯗꯤ ꯑꯩꯒꯤ ꯏꯄꯥ ꯑꯩꯁꯦ ꯃꯆꯥꯅꯨꯄꯥ ꯑꯍꯟꯅꯦꯕ my dead identity was a boy I was born in a male body so my dead identity that was the best version of my father women position ดูวางมาพัมดตี trans की position जो खरा मखाई दी वहाँ खला करने बा women position तो ना थी ना लो नुपी से आम किया लगा फंसे ना खान रुमा नहीं पड़ता नुपी से आम किया का तब नहीं है तो आई answer रोई ना दे आई ना निंगतम के है बता रहे थे अतोपा के निंगतम जो respect हो आई नहीं हम पहाड़ नहीं बस सिगी lyrics दा like नसाएं ये prologue से मैं पहाड़ नहीं yellow sparrow की yellow sparrow से स्माइल तो बनी हम सांग बुआरी ने आई ना थाई ना अकोई बाबांगा आई गसे याँ खटने ही बा and then आई की इमासिना बाबांगा अकोई निकी मरक सिदा अदुम लेप तो ही नहीं बा दाइदी बाबासिना इमासिना बाबांगी दमक तमी चंग कतरा आई की दमक तमी चंग कतरा हाँ बती आई सिना मागी मचा दाइदी बाबासिना मागी नुपा so adugi marak sigi ani sigi nukshiba sigi dilemma da adum lai doine ba then what happens is like imana khanara ko matam sida ai ngonda ngang doi se nang kai kino nupi dong na tawri to nang na nupi ma do bani whatever ai ngonda lak pa mina thina nga poi ro moi ro adumai taw doine ba dai no ma ti thina khatne baba ka ai ges thina khatne ba yam thina khatna ba matam sida khoi gi khatna ra ai sumang te yum dei thola aga ning tham tha gi matam ni ning tham tha gi phau yam phau na ba to phawra ma sumang mai da phau ya de khoi gi yum sigi sumang mai se hai no khong nem bi ma hoi ba hai no ma khong nem bi adai se nga ra mi ma su u khong ten ta nga ra ga pham me kap pe ma se ai su kap pe andai di phawra se da sendrang mai am sai ba ko sendrang mai am sina phau se khun ba se ima gi phiji sina hai ra tan thue ba hai ra tan thok pa sida sangi sentra ma khak se pai te ba sentra ma khak se aina kari ma se pai ti se ne sang jala ga yeng pa ma tam da ma gi masa na ma se ti aga le ram ne ba ma se pai pa ngam tre da na dai di aina sentra je khung ga la ga gi pan pa tom ba sida akhoi gi le ba ki chapu ama da ha pa ga sentra se la singa ga ha pi la ga tra ga chapu du hai nong du da thiet la ga tham me ba adai nga sai khatna ba du ga adai ma hu sa na ai diam i ba se pa me ba adai di ai se kharasu kai hai ni lyrical oi ba I thora pa ngang thora pa da mai na da ma hu sa na khara tau zai ba philosophical su oi ba aduna senrang du ga no mi to gi thau do tu ga ai ngon da sing sala kan da yam tongan ki ba do adu ai su tongan ba gi ni da na ai gi ba ba ima tau ri ba conflict mayam do then senrang da su ma ma na mayam ga pa minara ga ma na ma tom dang hun tu pyramid do ma su tongan ba ni ba ma gi ngam da ba adai different oi ba ma gi inability hai ta ni kwa adui tu ne ba adui tu na adu gi wari do senrang do gi wari da ngon da relate taw ra kan da ai na ai gi own fictional character ma sem bai wani da senrang tu na ma chu si tongan nam ba ta ra ti ma na thing na ka ta bu tu hai ba di senrang ne su khang roi uchek tongan ba mo oi ra ni da na senrang gi ma sak to da to pa ma chu ma pan sa la de so likewise adu ai su mioi marak ta po azu mi me am na isam different no na treat ta wi da na adu gi to na ina senrang to da ai gi wari do relate to sa la ga sai yellow sparrow hyper fictional characters sem ki bane adu na sigi yellow sparrow si dia se prologue siam tien bane ba yellow sparrow gi mana yellow sparrow se yellow ni khang pa do mama na ma tu se phoi ta la ga losan bane ba angang se senrang se mama sina samas senrang me am na u khrati ma se ning thi nungai taw bi ra roi mai ma chu se na then last the mama ga matu si sangat pa hen malak tan phoi bonga maktab dai khana rak patai ki matu hang ka pan do putho thola ga ma se ai gi tu se kai no na ti hang ga ma pan na ti sana harman ise yam saksawa ne ba adu gi makha ta ba yam sang ba narrative poem ne ba sigi yellow sparrow hai ri pa se sidana prologue matik to dang la kan da main story la ga ai gi epilogue na makha ta rak pa ne ba adu yellow sparrow hai yam tongan ba kai no amane ba narrative poems amane ba atagi prologue to lok thoga sida hapsan bo ani I say adum unfit oi I have been unfit in the family in the society and even in the community within the community I gi wakhal khan ba gi mawong I gi phiset I na taw thorok pa mawong siam khiat nai ba I na chat li ba khong thang I na law ri ba decision yam na tongan le ba adui duna I si adum naitom tabado ai ne na khanjaruri ba ai gi kangbu sing do like for example transgender hairaseba moi gi marakta gi so ai se dum tongan na leibado adugi tuna adugi tongan bado aina ai have self discovery torapa matamda ai se kanano na thirapa matamda ai se ai adum oina leiba ai kana matagi matau tamaga kana matagi matung illaga tawdeba ai gi on innovative oiba mo puthok sei adai di ai gi oiba wakhal dum tungaga leijeba then kamai tawge da ai se ai oina lepa matam se yang why ba because ai sina ai oiram draga kana gumba ama samas ki matung ilam batara de santa khurai nga si lepi se lepam da basu yai ba ai nongai ki bi ai pesa pai ki bi ai whatever phang bi ai but santa khurai gi am uniqueness oiba magi self truth to the mind ki ne ba aduna adugi unique tuna maram oida kanda ngasi di aina mi lising amagi kari ki seba taw bunga mai and the world has recognized me and there are millions of people who wanted to see me who wanted to meet me and there are people who really appreciate my work, my ideology, my politics. So that comes from the roots of that uniqueness. Aduna Yellow Sparrow so mado yellow oi hana tungana kantok patara so si the line na mayaw bani. The yellow feather that were shunned by the world golden and glorious, a breath of joy escaped from his beak. And he broke into a happy song. My feeder are the yellow gold. I am the yellow sparrow. Whoever saw him called the yellow sparrow. The color yellow became his identity. I see Thai I see niyam nangan laganda I get thong bayam thing na dewa Manipuri context transgender sing that. Then madam to the akoy say like we always have this common narratives like about we were talking about boyfriend, then about our sexual affair and about family affair. All those things were the common narratives. Why not? Where the what is happening? Adukanda, I've started thinking of thinking of finding a way to earn money because I the independent and I'm free when I live up yang pi ngai da ki ai ning tam ba kari no khang de but ai mon da kana gum na control to ba impose to ba pam de ba aduma pam de hai da na ina mayam na anti social lo ba pot ta chat pa na ta ba adubu ai amasung ai gi mana ba kang rup sing na thing na ri ba wari sing si yang kan da akoi gi existence ai ni am claim taw ni ba we exist ka hai ni bi do adu da na adumai na taw ba ni na ai gi lau ri ba khong thang sing se adum yam to ngan le adu da na ai si like the no article article the local newspaper like Impal Press matam English the adum de khanga padagi da bablu roi tong bamna I say han boy invite ka the human rights kai no kai say second United Periodic Review ki consultation ama Geneva ta taw da ba adugi pubire then I was introduced to Nandini talk so mayam human rights community mayam da introduce tawre adai di ai hana gi pamsa balai zari spirit da moi myam thingna ru da gi ai sa mo encourage story then amana gi secretary hapo pada gi di ai ngonda hana ai ngonda platform am phang yen na like platform phang dra de scholar law ya de na even though you have a very strong political point of view it's again very difficult for people to find a space where you would be able to deliberate what you're thinking about, what is your thought process, what is your experiences, and these are the people who really supported me in the journey, and Amana really helps me to find those spaces and position myself in a space in those spaces where I would be able to deliberate the challenges and also the community live experiences, the realities, and all sort of the things that the community are were encountering in their day-to-day lives. So adu baina tarokans da what happens is like adu gi matung da gi de amu akoina national level da la pa da gi de ai nga sa gi transnational movement gi understanding aina hana u gi the trans har ga trans oina u gi do like yam homogeneous ba community amu oina u la thola ini dana LGBT whatever this ki sigi narrative sigi identity se ai gi ahan ba ai gi meeting or my first perception towards this community was very homogeneous, because like if I'm a transgender person, what I thought is like the other transgender person can easily relate to me, whatever whenever I try to tell a stories to that person, uh, he or she can easily relate. But I was wrong. I was completely wrong, because there was a lot of diversity. Other diversity, I found indifferences within the community. I found a kind of disagreement with the community. I found a lot of political dynamic that existed within the community. And I, being a person coming from a northeast, which is from the periphery, and we all know political status of Manipur. So my position is again very low at the national movement. And in that journey also what I found was that my important identity was not only transgender. My indigeneity, my location, and my political status was also playing a very crucial role to my identity, to my transness, to my Nupi-Manbis identity. So I adumai tarakanda aina masai indigeneity se, agi racial identity se na agi gender mark, agi transness the important marker amo aina urieba, because of the way how the mainland Indian people treated me. I was always sidelined. Then I would get a very little time to speak. When I speak, there were few people who really applauded. But when other people from mainland India they speak up, then people were like kind of giving a lot of attention to that. So that was the challenges and the experiences that I have had in my life. And I found that happens because of the place where I come from, because of my background that I belongs to. Number one, my racial identity, small eyes, then coming from Northeast, always look as a kind of a different entity from the rest of India. So that was how that unfitness or that difference again pushed me to pick up those experiences to be kind of relate to the transgender movement, to the national transgender movement, just to prove that the diversity that exists within the community. And my claim is that I am also a transgender coming from a different location, coming from a different racial identity, but still I'm a trans person, and I should have equal opportunity like other trans people who exist across the world. So that unfitness also helps me to come up with certain realities and also certain political strength to kind of deliberate what I have been experiencing in my life, and to let other people know the stories of different people's life like me, so that also kind of enables the whole LGBT or queer and trans movement across the world to bring different voices from different nook and corner of the world to kind of build a very strong unification that has strengthening the international movement. I self-acceptance, I didn't know how I think it was. I self-acceptance, I isabu isa acceptable drapa. I ngasi dus mainan lai noiba. Madam di, I ipa I say matsano pa ahan neba. My dead identity was a boy. I was born in a male body. So my dead identity, that was the best version of my father. Aduga babana, I say I was a brilliant student. Aduga ando the babana, I say nupiti hani masu mapao any. You'll find in that poem here. The world belongs to Sidasu, Ainan, my father, and Ibaneba. And they do the Babanga conflict, it's very clearly written. Adukanda, Taubasinda, Aina, Babana, Namdana Nupiti and Bayam Namdana Nupiti, I've seen a lot of gay men in Manipur because of this marriage pressure. they got married and ruin women's life. And same thing in trans community also it happens. Many of the trans women, they got married to their opposite sex, and then later on what happens to their life nobody knows, and it's never recounted. There is no data at all. So adugumbado aigi punsidasu thoamba yaiba, but I resist that. I had a very strong resistance against it, against my father, because I wanted to live in my own town. I embrace my identity. I embrace those hatred that I received from the society, because I was different. Because of that difference, society ill-treated me. I have to accept that ill-treatment if I wanted to accept that indifferences. I accept that difference in me. Adumai tawga adum haurapa mineba. Aduga there were times like my community, Nupi community, they will insult me, they will mock me, telling me that I look very masculine and I am very fierce. Then I never look like a girl, I never look like a woman, and all those things. But I know khaleba, I do nupa malasu, I nupi nena dum lay, lepaga lay ba mi ne ba ise. Adudagidi aigi sense of dressing yam tongali. Matamduda Julia Roberts was my favorite star, and Pretty Woman my favorite movie, and it inspired me a lot in terms of my sense of dressing, my sense of fashion, and and then Caroline Corset, the James Bond girl. Those were the few personalities that also inspired me. But their inspiration to me was not about discovering, was really not helping to in the journey of discovering myself. It was about being bold, and then be very open to the society of who they are. Adugumbadudi I inspired tawi aduga aigi self truth adedi masagi I say I go in a life city. I've never copied from anyone. So if somebody asks me who is your ideal person, then Santa Khurai definitely. Because I've come a long way. I've gone through a lot of difficulties to get here now today. I mean, I'm pahaning with see like prologue sima pahaning Yellow Sparrow ki, because Yellow Sparrow ki prologue se pa ba matamda sidi I khaktangi na teba. Samas na khara tonga na thambi bana theraga thamba masama tong da confidence like the me since I'm inspired down ne basi se. It's not about a trans person or a trans story, but it can relate to anybody who are treated differently, who also feel different from others, because this prologue tells a very powerful narratives about how to celebrate for being different, how to live and live with pride and embrace and nurture those differences. Adu malaigani aduga ani subada masai kano sem pahani mataba ma koina community mobilized tawpagi 1990s ki the 1980s ki kangzei bungda koina taramba da seasonary ba Scotland goes adai matam jugi kangzei bungda leirami ba kangzei bungi sin sing do ariba gallery adu mathakta koina karamaina leiga to adugi main story horopagi section macha yawbani adu dum pahani remote.
Hoji hanaga yengna the Manipur jamna conflict over statue sigi hanadagi na hoji lerakpasida ko acceptance hena hoji hena yam leire na khanbra mayam generally koi Manipur da yeng kan da conflict
acceptance tilaite visibility dihengale acceptance lai bata di why I cannot exist in the society freely without being threat of getting abuse. When I say abuse, it could be verbal abuse, without being insult. Kumo have a left other than acceptance like the visibility the henkale. A home but a one but na because of that visibility, people have discouraged to come out in the way they wanted to. And adum but acceptance the I like the acceptance like but ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯗ ꯔꯤꯂꯦꯁꯟꯁꯤꯞꯀꯤ and then ꯑꯩꯈꯣꯏꯒꯤ desire mayam atop desire mayam sigi what is hamba hauradabneba akoisi kari maramgi da mota public tadi public ta thopada yamna pongna thopa ngamdrino akoisi kari maramgi da mota why we are people are very comfortable seeing us in thabal chongba then kaiba beauty parlor then you know in movies like a comic character like a joker so these are the illusion that that the society has made to upon transgender peoples and we have been selling and advertising both in visual and also in the physical ways aduna akogi acceptance laite acceptance labor tadi we can be existed both in public and also in family and in society very comfortably without being getting threatened from all sections of society I admire so the visible law acceptance nothing how can you talk about trans acceptance when women's position is like low and we have chosen to this you know mayamna neme pak ni mayamna pak taret na khomjale na pak taret ni yomaga sieme haiba nupi ne na haina riba praman du da aikhoina oijege na adugi marak tu da changki banina akhoi ki position de tokro nupi ki position na question da mani buda nupi ki position karino nupi ki position mawong tanan laitaba mafama the trans ki acceptance ki wari kamai sa doino we can talk about visibility we can talk about social tolerance and we cannot talk about acceptance there is no acceptance you first have a very critical point of view towards women's position in Manipur then later on we can continue that conversation and expand that conversation and include transgender people because women and transgender women are almost at the same position. We have common similar narratives. So, akoidi mayam nupi marakta su hantabalay dan inakon ba nupi na karawangi minister ga loina ba nupi na karawangi minister loina da ba nupi na karanemi ato ba ethnic community gi nupi na karanemi hai ba nupi ka rot sing marakta akoigi aino oi ba nupi sina kwai da gi nemba kaino ne but the moment people recognize that I'm a nupi manbe then all my values my personal values my intellectual values it remarkably reduce okay the akoina sigi power distribution se power redistribution hai tare but when I say power redistribution power ki structure lai rise akoina thugaira pa ma changni ba thugaira pa has we need lot of conversation we need lot of space akoina sigi se po mana bokunai se pura ke habitare de first of all aina has spaces darkar time wari yamna toina saba ma darkar time and the kiti sigi power structure se karai de la ino ko khangto pa ma darkar time power se de kini baloina ma lai se money power manpower resources power suguma mayam se lai ba mi sing se ai khoi ki nupi adai keno sing se power se na maram mo ga sana ni mong da sana ba adoi duna I so I opportunity I benefit to phang batara di ngasai ki power pire both dum sat ki bata bane ba and I will not be asking about my rights and I'll not be talking about the rights of other women and I adugumba power phanga ba resources lai ba missing the not number missing the women in particular moi the injustice se karino justice kaino khanga ro because they are happy in their own life and they doesn't have time to look at others struggling and others suffering so they have their own world they have a different worldview aduduna sigi different aduga solom the lady ba grassroots and then there are intellectual women and the activists whom the lady siga high man samjana rakse habitarity we need to look at this power structure where this power comes and how it executes in what ways at what different levels and power definitely man you know have this society da akoi diam pick to kang ni dana the diam pick to kang ni society na tawri ba marak se the changa do you hot na rakane ba in order to get a space in the society in order to get a space in the family so we'll be trying hard to get to achieve those spaces aduna high be ilakane ba samas na high be ilakane ba nang nupi oi bata di you know you have to follow certain rules certain ideas of that fulfill the social standard of being a woman, of being feminine. Adalakane, you need to be very soft and submissive to men. Adumbalakane, adu ibitari mo the society the pangani mo himapam. Aduga adudagi kare different when tholopas in a society the tongan like aneba. Adu dunis aina hanga sahizabudo. Sumaina lainiba ani singsi akona society ki lainiba culture tradition. Atse akoina ngasi naina city culture tradition ke mari supai laina deko. Akoina ngasi naina city Manipur ki culture tradition ke supai laina deba. Samas Manipur ki hana layram bi am fluid oiba gender pluralism layram ba Manipur da gender strictness oire sigi maram amaka root amaka koina ngasi tana baneba Manipur society am fluid oiba society ne am composite oiba society ne ba atu ki composite oiba atu fluidity du kar main mang khakada ngasi certain norms da yam strict oira kanda khaire even no haiba du ki root amaka thira baneba atu du city Manipur culture ga tradition ga mari laina de I am declaring this to all the viewers. The conversation that we have today has nothing to do with culture and tradition. We are just talking about how the fluidity once that was in actual Manipuri society has gone lost. Adunia hoina sanari bawari city. Adu karamaina mupura kadagi habani. Every fluid of a society the equality lako. Ngamganeba. Aduga adu equality lakwa danatana community gi oiba commune oiba pot amasu urakaneba adu commune do lai batarati indifferences kaya mankineba adumba poto mangak patuna karai dagi hawra ino habada yam gender the strict oira pose sigi sine adu duna akoi wari sapa khara yamna darkar tai history su nupina su ibi ai kaino napan loi ira tini thogi wari ngakti imi Lupin as a women's can write history about those queen warriors and those, brave women who sacrificed their life and who were very, very politically strong and then took a very major roles in the rulings of Manipur. We have our own perspective. Women have our own perspective and transgender to have their own perspective and perception. So the only difficulties is like there is no way that we could be able to, address and also, deliver our perspective and then our perception. That's the challenge that we have. What's in the what is hanaga putuakanda in different format we can bring it out, like it could be visual, it could be writing, it could be storytelling, in different formats. The only thing is that first of all we need space, we need a safe space. A safe space is very important to have a conversation around these realities, because those spaces would act as an avenue to bring in more people from the diverse perspective and diverse background. I think that is the only way available. Otherwise, it's very difficult because I don't believe in this government-sponsored women empowerment thing and all those things. They are doing for their goods, for the goods of the people, but in ground reality, it really doesn't matter to the women's empowerment. Women empowerment is very different. It's a very vast subset. I just cannot give you 1 lakh and then allowing you to open a small pants off for your livelihood. No, that doesn't work. women's issues is very huge. It's humongous, and transgender issues too. So we need a lot of conversation because women's position is very high in Europe. Natro, women position to wang mafam dati trans ki position so khara makhai di wang khala kani ba women position to na thina low no pc am kiera ga phasai na khandro mani poda no pc am kiera ga ne hai tro likewise transgender si yam na ki ri se ai na ki ba du bu kai no to na ta ba ki ba phai ai si yam ki it's okay but adu ge du na primary na te ba akoi ki cerebral capacity se use ta ba dunia ba secondary to na primary we sala di pharak tai dana adu duna adugumba khanba ngamba agi cerebral capacity agi agency kana khanba ngamba nupi sing sina mo ga lai mine ya da bi yung kai na bi adumai adum tawra ga lai bi ne ba adun trauma bo na tum trauma da tum sakki bi ne ba then those people who are doing a lot of things to please others, they have a good position in the society. So look at the difference. So women like me doesn't have space in the society and in the family also. That's why I give family, young people family, I'm saying this is Susan family that like I give Janupa later, I give niece later, then I give Imanabi, I thought Imanabi, Masanupa, I got them ladies. Because you know in this sick families in here, I want the comfortable way, I want to have trustworthy way. Kaya di mo ina ingon sa ay self-worth hanggang tambado. Ado ito na, ay definition of family marriage kasi it's very strange to me. Blood relationship nga tanan nung siba hanggang tapan ni haba, ay pun sida ingon tayo experience tao diba. Ay na ay jano pa, ayo pa tayo pangi ba, ay nis tayo pangi ba. It's almost like a chosen family. My house is called, House of Prosperity and Love. Ako'y da namthara ise kanano karai degi namthaba hore ino to adu matang yam khangani ni aduga accordingly adugi matungina moisu ningtam baki khongjong do moina ngasi ningtam ba pa me na lauri do moina ngasi ai yum pa ni habda phangti ba pesayam pa ni habda phangti ba adu mamayam do adugi makhata ni chatani adu khangdrati ningtam ba I answer ro ina de I na ningdam gi habitara de atopa gi ningdam is respect to atopa gi ningdam do atogi lampi tapi ba kai gi no indi I isai tong na I suppress we batara de I will not be able to understand others freedom. I'm free bird. So I'm very fortunate that I have this ability to understand others freedom and I still have this capacity to to show a pathway for people who want to do free.